Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Dre and Jay. We hope you guys are staying safe. Happy holidays. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
Um, uh, we're gonna go ahead and discuss a topic that was very popular earlier, but we didn't really get a chance to talk about it. And because we had a college football game earlier today that experienced multiple overtimes, we thought that it would actually be the perfect time to go back and kind of readdress this topic. So what we're going to be discussing today is should NFL games end in ties? Nobody likes to see a tie. Everybody wants to see a winner. Everybody wants to see somebody lose the game. So, Dre, should any NFL game ever end in a tie?
My opinion, no. Reason being is because it kind of gets tricky when it comes to positioning in the conference or
Tiebreakers?
your division. Yeah, the tiebreakers. It affects playoff seedings. And really and truly, bro, it's a competitive sport, and we're talking about at the professional level. Um, there should never be a tie in a professional game because when it comes down to it, when it's the playoffs or it's the Super Bowl, somebody has to win. And I feel like every regular season game should be like that. And another thing is that it lets teams like the Steelers, because it was the Steelers that went into overtime against
Steelers and Lions. The Lions.
the Lions. It lets teams let the Steelers off the hook because they could have possibly been the first team to lose to the Detroit Lions this year. So
Hmm.
it would have been interesting to see how that would have played out, if they could have kept up with Detroit or whatnot,
I
if they would have
definitely
used that
agree.
house on that.
I definitely agree. I actually think that no NFL game should end in a tie either. I 100% agree. If you don't let NFL games end in a tie in the playoffs, because I mean, obviously there has to be a win in the playoffs. Why are we not allowing a winner in a regular season game? Why are we choosing in the playoffs? Yeah, we're gonna keep playing until we have a winner, but then in the NFL, but then in the regular season, no, we're just gonna end it after one period, and both teams will get a tie in the win loss column. So everybody knows that. I mean, I guess you could say part of the reason why the NFL games are ending in ties is because of player safety. They don't want these players running around on the field for 6 or 7 15-minute quarters. That'd be pretty brutal. But I will say that I think ties are not good for the NFL. You have a lot of fans that travel thousands, hundreds of miles to some of these games just to find out, oh, you know, nobody won the game. Everybody wants to come and see somebody win or lose the game. You have teams and coaches that prepare the whole week for a team just for them to not leave the stadium with a win or a loss. So I mean, I just don't really think that the NFL is really gaining anything out of letting these games end in ties. Um, Now, there's typically two arguments that come along with the whole situation with how overtime is. For those of you that don't know, the old overtime rules in the NFL pretty much used to be the first score wins. So that means a team could get the coin toss. Let's say it's heads, and they said heads. They could get the ball, go 40 or maybe 50 yards downfield, kick a field goal, and the game's over. Now, I guess apparently the NFL, about 10 years ago, the NFL felt that, I mean, that
That's
wasn't
too
making
easy.
it's too easy for the other team. You know, all you're telling me that a coin toss is deciding who gets the ball first, and all they have to do is go down the field and kick a field
Yeah,
goal. I
because
mean,
guys like Aaron Rodgers and Brady, they could get that in 2 plays. Boom, boom. All right, put Mason Crossbar or Vinatieri at the 35, and
or
that's
Greg
ball game.
or Greg the leg.
I'm not
I'm
sure about that.
I'm just
If
playing. I'm just
you
playing.
have
He
Greg the leg,
sucks.
you might want to go get that touchdown.
I'm just
Stop.
but the overtime rules now state that the team that gets the ball first, if they score a touchdown, the game is over. But if they score a field goal, the other team gets a chance to match or score a touchdown. So there's commonly two arguments that go along with this. For the team, like for example, I'm sure you remember the game a couple years ago with the Patriots and the Chiefs, where a lot of teams, a lot of people felt that it was unfair that Tom Brady got to go down the field and score a touchdown, and Patrick Mahomes didn't even get a chance to touch the ball. Do you agree or disagree with the whole argument that, oh well, if the other team, if the Patriots go down the field and the Chiefs can't stop them, oh well, too bad. You gotta stop the other team. Do you agree with that argument? Do you feel like that argument is unfair? Like, what do you think about that whole argument?
That
That oh,
argument
you
is
have to
valid. That
that
argument
you don't.
is
I'm sorry. I just want to clarify for those who don't understand. So pretty much the argument would be the Chiefs don't deserve to get the ball back and match what the Patriots did because they didn't stop them, so they don't deserve a chance. So what do you think about that?
I feel like it's fair, bruh, and that's what Andy Reid gets, bruh. The man want to have a top heavy team, thinking that he could just run Mahomes into the ground, bruh, because he lucked out and drafted a generational talent, bruh, and he forgot that you got to put talent on the defensive side of the football, bruh. Forget that, man, bruh. So if you can't have a defense that could minimize the other offense, bro, you don't really deserve to win that game, bro. And I don't know how frankly, I don't know how you made it to overtime in the first place, bro. Like if you if you had the opportunity to win the game within 60 minutes of that game. You had the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. You got the ball back, and you had the opportunity to stop them on defense, and you couldn't, bro. I feel like the NFL is doing it in a way so they they try to keep the players with enough energy and they don't try to have them fatigued because I feel like if the Patriots march the ball down the field and they put it in the end zone, bro, that should be it, bro. That should be it. You as a defensive coordinator, you have to set up a plan to try to stop that and let them settle to a field goal. Now, if they settle to a field goal, now you have the opportunity to go down and score. But if you just let a team march down the field, bro, 80 yards, bro, take the fall, bro.
So I'm glad you actually brought up a point where you said you had a full 60 minutes to win the game. So you feel like the whole argument that oh, if you didn't you should have played better so that you wouldn't have put yourself in the situation of where you had to be in overtime. You agree with that argument also that
Yeah, bro. Because if that
just
was the case, it'd be like that Indiana game, that college Indiana game that went into like 6, 7 overtimes, bro. Nobody wants to see that, bro. Like, of course we know who Pat Mahomes is. He might have scored, and then it just went back and forth, and that defense would have gotten bailed out, bro. No. So I think
so
the
let
rule
me
is to make it's made to not bail out bad defenses. Make that
so let me
defensive
ask
coordinator work.
so let me ask you this because I'm just curious because I used to be on the side that says if the defense can't stop the other team, they don't deserve to get the ball. I've that has always kind of been my mentality when it came to overtimes. But then when I started thinking about it, you have to think about it like this, Dre. You're telling me, let's say the Patriots get the coin. You're pretty much deciding the game on the flip of a coin if you think about it, because more times than not, the team that gets their choice on the coin toss, more times than not, they choose to receive the ball and they go down there and they go down the field and score. So don't you feel like by the whole mentality that if you score a touchdown, the game's over no matter what, the other team doesn't get a chance to score, you don't feel like in that situation there's too much emphasis on the coin toss itself? Like, do you understand what I'm trying
Let's
to
not
ask?
let's yeah, I understand that, but let's not blame it on the coin toss. It's not like they're doing the coin toss and then Bill Belichick says, I want ball first, and the offense goes out on the field and there's nobody to stop them on scoring. Like they literally just run it down the field, bro. You have a defense there Football is played on two sides of the football, bro. Set up a strategy and force them to a field goal, or force them to punt. Simple as that.
So if two teams in the regular in regulation have a shootout and both defenses can't stop the other team's offense, you mean to tell me that overtime starts and the team that gets the ball first, if the other team can't stop them, then the game should immediately be over. That's pretty
They
much what
should
you're
have did
saying.
their job. They should have did their job in regulation.
Okay. All right.
Because at this point, bro, we've played for 60 minutes, bro. People trying to get out of here, bro. A normal football game should only be 3 hours between all the timeouts, overtime, the breaks, the injury timeouts and stuff like that. Even though they should get them the fuck off the field. My bad. As quickly as possible, but you know what I'm saying, man. A football game should only be 3.5 hours, and I understand the NFL wanting to try to fit all of these games in one day. Well, actually three, because you have Thursday night football and then you have Monday night football, and these venues are only running for a certain amount of time. So I understand where the league is trying to come from. Like, they don't want to spend too much time on overtime, but I feel like they should switch it up a little bit so that there isn't a tie. My only problem is ending it in a tie. I like the whole college thing because the college thing is the same thing. You get a chance, you get a chance. If you don't score, too bad. But with the NFL, I feel like they're just trying to end the game as quickly as possible. And you're a pro, bruh. You get drafted as a defensive player in the league, bruh. Force that team to a field goal.
Well, let me ask you this. Part of the reason why we're actually talking about this is because players from Najee Harris from the Steelers and another player from the Lions, a running back. I'm not sure I remember his name. They both said they didn't even know that NFL games ended in a tie. They both thought that after that first period of overtime, it was going to go into a second overtime. And then when they saw everybody leaving the field, they were asking their teammates, "What's going on? I thought there's another overtime." And they were like, "Nah, bro, the game's over." And they were shocked because they said they never experienced the NFL tie. I mean, they never experienced a tie in their life playing football. So, I mean, I'm sure you remember this too as an Eagles fan when I think it was the Bengals and the Eagles tied, and Donovan McNabb said himself after the game he didn't even know the games ended in a tie. I don't know if you remember
He
that,
should have played better. Fuck,
but
bruh.
but I mean,
I'm playing.
but I mean,
I just had to get that
we
out
need to
there.
get a censor button for him.
My
But
bad, bro.
I'm just playing. But I mean, to me, okay. I just don't. This is my biggest thing. I get the whole thing that they don't want to keep the game going on forever. These guys are hitting each other like for 60 minutes straight. I understand all of that, but I do have a proposition that I'd like to make for NFL
Okay, go
overtime,
ahead,
and
bro.
tell me what you think. So overtime starts. Take away the clock, so no game clock, but keep the play clock. So that obviously they still have to come up with their play in a certain amount of time. Okay, so no
Hmm.
game clock, but still keep the play clock. Eliminate the coin toss. I mean, no, keep the coin toss, but eliminate the kickoffs. So let's say it's Patriots and Chiefs playing. Let's say that it's heads. The Patriots called heads. Put the ball on the 25-yard line, and they have to score a
Right.
touchdown or a field goal. If they score a touchdown or a field goal, the other team has to match it. But here's the tricky part that I wanted to add in to make it the game still end fast, even though you're still giving both teams a chance. If the team scores a touchdown, they have to go for a 2-point conversion. So 2-point conversions are already they're not impossible to do, but they're not easy. So let's say the Patriots go all the way down the field.
Yeah, because the average team is like 30-40% with
So
2-point
exactly.
conversions.
So let's say Tom Brady. Well, Tom Brady's on the Bucks now, but let's just for the sake of that game, let's say Tom Brady carries the Patriots all the way down the field and they score a touchdown. They have to go for two. Let's say they missed a 2-point conversion. The Chiefs get a chance to match it. They start on the other team's 25. Let's say they go all the way down the field and they score a touchdown, but then they do get the 2-point conversion. The Chiefs win.
The thing with that is,
So what
bro,
do you think about
both of those
that?
offenses were unstoppable that day, bro. That thing could have probably went to 10 overtimes, even with your format.
Okay, so so that's where I actually have a backup plan for that too. Let's say both teams score a touchdown, and then both teams get the 2-point conversion after that. Then you go into another sudden death. You put the ball on the 2-yard line and force them to do 2-point conversions until the other team doesn't get it. And the game won't. I don't think the game will last any much longer than you actually think. Kind of like the college football.
That's actually brilliant. That's actually brilliant, and that format actually favors the Patriots at that time, dude. Bill Belichick gonna get a defensive stop before Andy Reid defense.
So I feel like
either way the Patriots win, man.
I feel you might be right, but at least you're giving both teams a chance. So even if the first team that gets the ball scores a touchdown, you make them go for 2. The other team has to match what the other team did, no matter what. So if the Patriots kicked a field goal, but then the Chiefs went down and scored a touchdown, and the Chiefs win. But then if they both score and they both get the 2-point conversion, put the ball on the 2 and make them go for 2-point conversions back to back. At some point, somebody's gonna miss. The game's not gonna go on for that much longer after that point, and I feel like that would be a good proposition, similar to the college format, but obviously still keeping, somewhat of what the NFL already does.
So your whole take on it is that you feel like a team going down and scoring is not fair, and you still don't believe in a tie, but you'd like to see where the other team had a chance.
Exactly. And like I said, you know how I am when it comes to like football arguments. In the past, I've always been that guy that says, I don't care if your team football is offense and defense. If your team can't stop the other team from scoring, you don't deserve a chance to get the ball back. But I mean, at the same time, I that used to be my mentality. But when you really think about it, it's unfair because if
it is fair, they have a cap space. They have a salary cap, and Andy Reid doesn't. For some reason, he didn't want to spend money on his defense at that time, so that's on him.
I think for those of you who's wondering why he's going off of Andy Reid, I think he's a little still scarred from the Eagles days with Andy Reid and Michael Vick. So just in case.
For what he doing to Pat Mahomes this season, bro.
But for real though, I just don't think it's fair. When you actually think about it like this. You have 2 teams that are offensive juggernauts, and literally, let's say they put up 60 points. Let's say both teams put up 60 points in regulation, and the defense okay, remember that Rams and Chiefs game a couple years ago where they literally on Monday Night Football, where they were literally scoring at will and the defenses couldn't stop each other. So you mean to tell me
actually there was a couple turnovers in that game.
No. I know, but I'm just trying to give you a perspective. Let's say both defenses weren't really stopping each other, obviously, until later on in the game. But you mean to tell me, let's say none of the defenses could stop the other team's offense. You mean to tell me if the game goes into overtime, that the offense that scores points first automatically gets the win? Like, that's not fair if you think about it. Both teams should get a chance to possess the ball, no matter what. Now, if the team that gets the ball first gets a safety or throws a pick six or something of that nature, then the game should be over, in my opinion. But both teams should get a chance to possess the ball, no matter what. I just don't think it's fair that you could have a game where both defenses can't stop each other. There has been games where we've seen that both defenses cannot stop each other. And then you're telling me the game goes into overtime and the team that gets the ball first just because they're an offensive juggernaut, the other team automatically loses without even getting a chance to touch the football. I don't think that's fair
I'm gonna be
when
slick.
you actually
So
think about it.
you said if the first offense goes out and they throw a pick six, should the other defense get a chance to get a pick six, man? Fuck.
No,
I'm playing.
no, they had their possession.
I'm
I knew you were gonna say something like that too. You're a clown. Nah,
playing,
you
tripping.
had the ball, bruh. If Tom Brady gets the ball at the 25 and in some crazy fashion they get a safety, bruh, the game over, bruh. The game's over, bruh. You had your chance. Push the ball down the field, bruh.
Damn, his defense don't get a chance to force a fumble or something, bro. Damn.
Nah, the game's over.
It'd be like that, bro.
The game's over, bruh. You had
That
your
was a good
chance.
topic. Like I like where you going with it, bro. It gives sort of like a college format to it, and
Thank you.
it possibly could. The game could go about only 30 minutes more over.
I don't even think that, because like I said, in my proposition, it would be untimed and both teams have a chance to possess the ball, and and if they score a touchdown, they have to go for two. So that's gonna, in my opinion, that would make the game shorter, because the chances that both teams score touchdowns and both teams get 2-point conversions, it can happen, but it's not very likely if you think about it. It's I mean, we've seen it happen many times, but I feel like the game would end a lot faster
Unless
than you
both
think.
teams had a Derrick Henry in their backfield, bro, they're not both getting the 2-point conversion.
I know. So I don't.
Or
I mean, who knows?
unless both teams got Marcus Mariota, bro, they're not getting that 2-point.
It'd actually be crazy, because if it was the Titans in that situation, bro, they would just give Derrick Henry the ball every
Or do
time.
read option with Marcus.
So anyway.
No, I'm just glad Mariota back.
No, I'm just playing. Marcus Mariota with the read option has been deadly. But yeah, let us. Do you have anything else you want to add? I think we covered that pretty well.
Nah, bro. All I gotta say is, bro, how about them Cowboys?
Oh
We gonna talk about that next, though. We gonna talk about that next.
How about them Eagles?
Oh yeah. 5-6. 2 games behind first place in the division, and a half a game behind the final wild card spot. Yeah. How about them Eagles, bro?
And 2 games out of elimination.
Oh yeah. We lose it.
All right. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Should any NFL game ever end in a tie? Do you disagree with what we said? Do you agree with what we said? Let us know in the comments. Like the video if you guys liked it. If you didn't like it, dislike it. So that we'll know. We'll know we need to step our game up the next time around. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And we'll see you guys in the next video soon. Peace.